Moneybags, my name's Tom and welcome to the second season of Item of the Week, where I create weapons, armours, items and trinkets with special abilities and backstories for you to use in your roleplay campaigns. So let's kick off this week's Item of the Week and let me introduce you to the Echo Blade.
The elf was a slippery kid, best known by his associates for skipping out on payment. Talking about everything from his bar tab to his mortgage. He had debt out of his arse. Thing is, he went too far. Managed to con my boss out of a family heirloom. A fancy looking sword, to be precise. And that's where me and the lads had to step in. We tracked the stinking rat to his little hideaway and surrounded him. I knocked at the door, offering him a quick resolution, but before I bloody knew it, he was out the window, with sword cutting down my men. I could barely keep track of him as he moved. He span and slashed so quickly even his shadow couldn't keep up. Crazes that should merely have nicked armor tore men in twain. And after dancing around for a bit, he set his eyes on me. But in all honesty, I don't have no words to describe it when this twitchy elf, coming straight for me, trips on a stone. Next thing I know, he hits the ground and explodes into a bloody mess. Let me tell you, it was the best job I've ever taken.
So the Echo Blade is a tarnished, katana-like sword with two blades fixed together. The taller blade acts as the main offensive edge, while the smaller sister blade partially covers the dull back edge of the main one. The guard of the blade is made up of a hodgepodge of metal to accommodate the twin blades, but it also houses an azure gem in the middle. Extended from the guard is a metal trigger, which is fixed over the grip for easy access while wielding. This trigger is somehow connected to the azure gem via a mechanical rig housed in the guard. The original handle is metal, however it has been rewrapped with leather and linen numerous times over a very large time period. Additionally, the blade doesn't have a pommel, however the metal grip forms into a hoop at the end which has been adorned with various hanging charms. Okay, so what does the Echo Blade do? Well, if the wielder is holding the trigger whilst attacking, on a successful attack roll, the Echo Blade creates a full spectral azure shadow of the wielder. This azure shadow lags just a second behind the wielder and is called an after image. If the wielder already has an after image and successfully lands a consecutive attack, then another after image is created, which lags just a second behind the previous one. If the wielder is lucky, they can have up to 5 of these after images following behind them, creating what would appear to be an azure haze following behind them. But these after images aren't just for show. Each after image adds another lot of damage to a successful attack. So let's break that down. So let's say you have one after image active already, and you successfully land an attack, doing 1d10 plus your normal modifier damage. The after image allows you to roll another lot of damage straight after, with no to hit roll. That means you roll 1d10 plus your modifier damage, followed by another 1d10 plus your modifier damage. Now this works for each after image that you have, so if you have 2 after images, you get your normal damage, and then 2 extra normal damage afterwards. If you have 3, 3, 4, 4, etc. However, this great power comes at a huge cost. If the wielder misses their attack, or chooses not to attack that turn, they lose all after images immediately. But the real kicker is, if the wielder is hit with these after images active, they take extra damage for each after image before losing them all. This means that although you can do up to 5 times your normal damage, you can also take up to 5 times your normal damage as well. It's a classic risk and reward item that suits the most daring PCs in your campaign. The Echo Blade by nature suits an agile character that can hit and run targets, maximising the use of the after images. Tanks can use this item as well to wail on enemies, however they must be aware that the Echo Blade will shred them. Some classes have the ability to make numerous attacks on their turn, and this will work in conjunction with the Echo Blade. For example, a fighter that makes 2 attacks will first make 1 attack, and if they successfully hit, create an after image, and their second attack will do their normal damage and the second lot of damage from the after image as well. On a critical hit, the Echo Blade will spawn 2 after images instead of 1, and allow the user to use the extra damage from those 2 after images immediately. On a critical fail with the Echo Blade, the user accidentally hits themselves with their own weapon and does the normal lot of damage. If they have any after images as well, they will do extra damage. Okay, so we talked about the power of the Echo Blade, what it looks like, but where would you find it? Well, the Echo Blade is a powerful weapon reserved for only the most skilled duelists. Therefore, it will be likely that only renowned fighters or soldiers will be in possession of this weapon. Perhaps an infamous soldier is finally looking to retire and give away the blade to attend their neglected family, or a skilled duelist who wants to get out of the game is looking for someone to pass the blade on to. It could be that the risky nature of the blade and the continuous fighting that they've done has put them off fighting altogether, and they don't want to continue pushing their luck. Or maybe they're just weary of the blade as it invites duelists and fighters alike to constantly challenge them. Away from dueling, perhaps the Echo Blade is held by an elite guild of fighters, and their strongest member holds the sword and the title of guild leader. Now this guild could be a scourge on the land with their constant battling and dueling, or potentially they're quite altruistic and they offer their services as being a mercenary or bodyguards to merchants. Away from questing entirely, it's most likely that the Echo Blade will belong in abandoned armories or legendary dueling grounds within dungeons. And finally, let's talk about some alternative versions of the Echo Blade to help you customize it for your players. So very simply, to alter the power of the Echo Blade, you can just adjust how many after images it creates. If 5 seems too many, perhaps you can make it 3 or 2, or if 5 doesn't seem enough, perhaps you can make the number of after images infinite. Think of the damage! Alternatively, you can always alter the amount of damage the wielder can do and the wielder can take, depending on their after images. If it seems too little, perhaps you can double it. If it seems too much, perhaps you can half it. Maybe instead of the wielder taking extra damage when they have multiple after images, they just lose one after image and negate the damage. Or instead of doing a whole lot of extra damage for each after image the wielder has, perhaps it only just does a +1 or +2 modifier. To make the Echo Blade a little bit harder to use, and if you have lots of killing involved in your campaign, perhaps an after image can only be gained by landing the killing blow. It could even be that the Azure Gem on the Echo Blade starts off shattered, and the PCs need to collect extra shards of the gem in order to power up the blade. Originally it could start off with 1 after image only, and then after you get a few more shards it can go up to 2, 3, 4, even 5 if you complete the Azure Gem. Ultimately, the Echo Blade is extremely customizable, with both tremendous strengths and incredible weaknesses.
Thanks for watching Item of the Week. As always, please leave a like if you enjoyed this week's item, and be sure to comment on how your players reacted to it in your campaign. Hitting that subscribe button will make you the first to know when new videos come out, and also be sure to check out the full Item of the Week archive in the link in the description and the other D&D content on my channel.